Got it.
Hello, friends. Thanks for coming in for another Masters edition, just 6 months after our last show preview, which is weird to say, 2 editions of this in 6 months. My name is Nick Borrman here with WagerTalk.com. And we have here with us today Andy Lang, also from WagerTalk.com, to help us break down some of these outright leaderboard and head-to-head matchups for the week. Andy, welcome, my friend. How you doing?
I wish we could do the Masters every 6 months. This is so cool to be able to talk about it twice in a 12-month period. Very, very excited.
Yeah, it's a rare situation. Who knows if we'll ever see it again? I know the big question, we'll all have to ask ourselves is, will this Masters play like the last one? And I guess time will tell. But before we get into some of that, I do want to mention everybody a promo both Andy and myself have up for this week is our weekly pack is available for just 50% off this week using promo code MASTERS50. So normally priced at $39. You can get the pack this week for just $19. Andy, what do you have included in your pack for this week?
Oh, man, tons of stuff. I did a bunch of player profile write-ups for a lot of the guys. I think I have 15 of those up there. Head-to-head bets are already posted. I may or may not have a couple more, but there's 7 head-to-head matchups up. I have some DFS lineups as well. And as more and more props creep into the markets, into the U.S. markets and the international markets, those will be going up tomorrow. So huge package, tons of plays. I love the majors because the books gives us 5-6 times as many opportunities to bet on the tournament as normal. So a lot of information, a lot of good stuff, everything you need to know to make money off of this tournament.
Damn, $19, all that information. That's a good deal. Well, good luck with all that stuff. I have 4 matchups posted right now. I have a couple outright plays posted in there. I'll be adding a few more between now and Thursday. And we'll have a couple leaderboard bets as well. So full lineup of information from both of us. And again, take advantage of that promo this week. Masters 50, get the packs for each of us for just $19. All right, let's get into it. We'll start here with the outright market. Of course, everybody wants to know. First thing you ask yourselves, right? Masters coming up. Who's going to win? Who's going to win? Well, the Masters is one of those events that, guys that play well there tend to play well there year in and year out. And you can look down deep into the leaderboard, which I know Andy has a few guys that probably have played well for the last 40 years here that he still likes this week. But if we take a quick look at the odds leaderboard this week, you can see all the names are up there. And honestly, anybody could make an argument for any one of these guys this week. But the trick with these outrights is, where's the value lie? You can only picking an outright. First of all, it's tough. You gotta sprinkle around on a couple guys. It's very hard to just pick one guy and hope it cashes. But maybe you just like 3 or 4, and you try to find a winner every other, 3 or 4 weeks or so, and you can make some money. This leaderboard, 9-1, 10-1 to win. They're not great odds, and you got a lot of guys sprinkled up there. So I'll start with you, Andy. Is there anybody in this top 10 list that you're looking at this week? We'll dive down into maybe some more of the long shots as well, but anybody in this top 10 list that you think has a good chance?
Yeah, I would say odds are that the winner is going to come from one of those guys. Yeah. Course history is huge. The cream rises to the top here. We see it every year. Long shots is hard to come by, but I am staring at Brooks Koepka at plus 2,800. I get Brooks Koepka, the major machine, at 28-1. The big concern with him is obviously the knee and the health, but he finished 7th here in the fall, and he finished 2nd at the WGC at the concession, and he won the waste management. So I get Brooks a win and a runner-up in 2 out of his last 3 tournaments in 2021. And here are his finishes at the last 9 majors: 7th, 29th, 4th, 2nd, 1st, 2nd, 1st, 39th, 1st. So his last 2 tournaments at Augusta, he finished 7th and 2nd. And if he has a good showing here, you're never going to see Brooks Koepka at this price ever again in a major. He's off the radar probably because he hasn't played in a while. I think that's by design. I would not be shocked at all if he is in one of the final groups on Sunday with a chance to win. I think 28-1 is a phenomenal price on a guy that just loves to win majors.
I love Koepka this week. I couldn't agree more. I mean, the last time we saw him, his odds drift this low, he went out and won the Waste Management Phoenix Open. Normally he's right there, top of the list, 10-1, 12-1, 14-1. 28-1, I think, is a great value. And you're right, he's been out with the knee surgery. He just had a very minor surgery, but just had it there last month. So that's why we're seeing this number. But listen, when the guy is down and you forget about him and you write him off is when he plays his best. And everything you said is correct. His history here is fantastic. I love Brooks at this price. So good find there. My guy in this list that I like is Cantlay, Patrick Cantlay. He's 20-1 right now. He's on a really good form right now. He's number 2 on tour over his last 5 starts in total strokes gained over the field. He's averaging 2.5 strokes gained per round over the rest of the field. On the season, he ranks near the top in everything: 21 off the tee, number 7 around the green, number 8 tee to green, number 6 total strokes gained, blah, blah. He's 4th in birdie average, 13th in scoring average. His results this year, I mean, he's got a win already. He's got a 2nd, a 3rd in just his last 8 starts. He also finished tied for 17th in the fall edition. And he finished 9th here in 2019. So Cantlay's got course history. He's got great form, and he plays well in big, deep field events. So that's my pick out of the top of the list. But again, what fun is picking outrights if you're just going to pick the guys at the top? What about down further in the list? I mean, of course, there's guys down there, past champions from the old timers that are just not going to win, and they're paying 200-1. You just simply can't bet those guys this week, realistically anyway. Anybody lower on this list? I don't know, maybe in the mid-40s ranges to 50 ranges, that usually can produce a winner. Anybody you see down there you like this week, Andy?
Yeah, I got to look at Webb Simpson. One of the stats that I look at with the Masters is par 5 scoring. It's essential to winning the Masters. You win the Masters, you got to take advantage of the par 5s. Webb Simpson is top 10 in par 5 scoring this season. He finished 10th here in the fall, 5th in 2019. So he's shown he can finish in the top 10. He also finished 8th in the fall at the U.S. Open. So he's playing well in the big boy tournaments, the majors. And I love that he had 2 wins in 2020, the Waste Management and the RBC Heritage. Winning tournaments on the PGA Tour is really hard. Just ask Tony Finau. And when you look at someone like Webb, he can close out tournaments. He's shown that he can do it. Somebody like Finau, who has only won, at a tournament like the Puerto Rico Open, I'm not going to lay money on to win outright. I want a guy who has tasted victory multiple times. He's got 2 wins in 2020. He shows up at the big tournaments. He's got good course history here. 43-1 is worth a sprinkle, in my opinion, on this guy.
Couldn't agree more. I took him as my 5% top play. Actually, the last Masters, I had a top 20 on him, which came through and cashed. So I like Webb. He is he's a guy that he's never going to hurt himself. He's never going to, be out of contention after Thursday. And the Masters, you can do that. You can shoot yourself right out of the tournament on day one. And Webb won't do that. So I like that play. I'm looking at myself. I'm looking at Matthew Fitzpatrick. Right now, I see him at 46-1 at FanDuel. I mentioned Cantley already, who's number 2 in strokes gained over his last 5 starts on the PGA Tour. Who's number 1? This guy. He's averaging 2.56 strokes gained per round over the field. His worst finish was the Dell match play, where he didn't make it out of his group, but he still won 2 of his matchups in that tournament. But his list of the previous 4 stroke play events, I mean, the Genesis, brutal course, WGC Workday, obviously deep field and WGC event. Arnold Palmer was probably the easiest field, but very difficult course. And the Players, obviously tough course and deep field. And he's finished right up there in the top 15 in all of them. He doesn't have the best track record here at the Masters. He's only got 1 top 10 in 6 starts at Augusta, but it's all about momentum right now. And I think this guy has a good chance to be in contention on Sunday. And that's really all it's about. I mean, picking an outright winner we know is hard. So I just want a chance on Sunday. That's all I'm asking for. It makes the event so much more fun to watch when you got that going with you. So, all right, I like your choices, Andy. Good luck to you there. Next, let's talk a little bit about maybe some leaderboard. Oh, I know you love the daily fantasy markets. So before we get into that, I did want to give a quick shout out to the $2 Tuesday cappers at Wager Talk and at Sports Memo. We have Dave Koken, who was number 1 baseball at Wager Talk last year, and I believe hasn't lost a single play yet this year, is the $2 capper at Wager Talk today. And we have Hunter Engelhardt at Sports Memo with his $2 play going as well. Both have baseball players going on today, so make sure to head on over to those pages. Check out those guys. Great value on one of their bets going on tonight. So, all right, leaderboard market and daily fantasy bargain buys. So here we're talking about 2 types of ways to bet a golf tournament that really overlap. I mean, when it comes to daily fantasy, I'll let Andy talk on that a little bit more, but it's really trying to find guys who's going to be there, top of the list, but you can only afford to pick 1 or 2 guys up there, right? And you got to find those guys that are bargain buys that make it to the weekend. That's the key for daily fantasy. So leaderboard bets, similar. I like to look at those markets. It's guys, they're probably not going to win, but can they put a solid 4 rounds together and finish in the top 10 or finish in the top 20 and have a nice 4, 5, sometimes 10-1 payout just to get up there on the leaderboard? Andy, let's start with you. Daily fantasy bargain buys. Who are the guys that need to be in the lineups that we can afford in the lineups this week? Who do you like?
Well, it doesn't take a genius to say, well, I think DJ is going to show up this week, or I really like Justin Thomas at 10,600. So the majors are a great way to make money in daily fantasy. Why? Because people that don't normally play daily fantasy want to have a lineup in the Masters. They want to go head-to-head against somebody. They want to enter the big tournament, and most of these guys are not paying attention, and they don't know the stats. So if you're somebody that plays 1 lineup a week in the majors, if you know what you're doing, play 5, because you can take advantage of some of these amateurs. It's kind of mean to say, but hey, it's a jungle out there in daily fantasy. So let me give you a couple guys who I love in daily fantasy, and these are lower priced guys that will give you flexibility at the higher end. And I will go all the way down to a guy who is 6,100 in DraftKings, Bernhard Langer.
Oh, Bernie.
He just keeps on keeping on. This guy has made the cut 3 Masters in a row. And in the fall, which was only 6 months ago, he finished 29th. So he's only 6,100. So I get a guy who's made the cut 3 years in a row. He finished top 30 just 6 months ago in the fall. He knows this course probably better than anybody. He keeps in unbelievable shape. He puts the ball in the fairway, hits approach shots, and hits some good lag putts. And all of a sudden, what do you know? He's playing on the weekend. It's so strange to say, but he is in a lineup of mine. I also love Ian Poulter at 6,800. Always underrated in the DFS lineups. He has 1 missed cut at the Masters in his career back in 2013. This is a guy who's finished top 25 the last 2 Masters tournaments, and he's an alpha. If you've ever watched him with the European guys, He is not intimidated by anybody. They all look up to him. He's not scared of any Masters. He knows how to shine on the big stage, and at 6,800, he's just great. And Corey Connors, there's another guy under the radar. He's only 6,900. Finished 10th here in the fall. And if you take out the match play, this guy coming off of 3 top 15 finishes in PGA Tour events. So I get a guy that played good 6 months ago here at this exact same course, and he's got great momentum. He's off of people's radars. This is a great way to make money in daily fantasy, putting guys like this in your lineup that nobody else has.
Yeah, I love Connors. You're right. He's been on fire the last several tournaments. Bernhard Langer reminds me of I used to play Freddie Couples as a first-round leader almost every single year because the guy would just do that. And he would, the guy was 55 to 60 years old and still make that first-round leaderboard. He'd fall off by maybe he wouldn't still make the cut or he'd fall off definitely by Sunday. But first-round leaderboard, he would shoot a 200, 300 on that Thursday. It was a cash every single year. So I understand the birdie play. Good luck, man. I love those choices. On the leaderboard side, a couple guys I'll throw out there for you guys this week is Brian Harman. Top 10 is paying 8-1 right now at DraftKings. First of all, Harman is a lefty. You know a little bit about the history of the Masters. Lefties play well here. Bubba Watson, Phil Mickelson, Mike Weir. First two were multiple-time champions. Mike Weir just the one, but still proves the point that this course sets up well for lefties. There's a lot of dog legs that go left, and to hit a cut shot for lefties is a very easy ball to control. So just throwing that out there. Besides that, he's been playing great. He made the cut in 14 of 15 events this year. He has 5 top 25 finishes, including 3 top 10s. He just finished tied for third at the Players, which, it doesn't get any harder than that. Just a few weeks ago, he made the quarterfinals in the Dell match play at his last start. He's 22nd on tour this year in scoring, 21st strokes gained putting, and 33rd total strokes gained. So I think he's a great value. I think you could also do a little safer, take him on the top 20 side, but I love 8-1 as a top 10. That's just as good as DJ winning the event. So good play there. The other one I like this week, I almost didn't want to bring up because I can never pronounce his name, and I'll call him Christian Bez. Is it Bezuidenhout? Bezuidenhout?
It depends.
It doesn't matter.
It depends what announcer you get on TV because it's Bezuidenhout, Bezuidenheit, Bezuidenhout. It just depends on the announcer.
Well, listen, that was the only reason I didn't want to list him here because I knew I was going to screw up his name. So I'll call him the Bez. I like him this week. He led the European Tour in total strokes gained last year, and he had back-to-back wins in November and just December. So he finished tied for 32nd at the WGC Workday, then solo 7th at the Arnold Palmer Invitational, and tied for 41st most recently at the Players. So he's proven he can play with deep fields. And again, he's not a guy that your casual golf fan's going to know, but us avid fans are going to definitely know his name. And he's a guy that's going to fly under the radar. Top 20 right now at FanDuel is playing 4-1. I think that's a pretty good value, pretty good way to play him this week and get 4-1 on your money. Either one of these guys come through. All you need is just one of these to cash, and we're going to be making some nice money. So I like those two guys this week as some value plays. And I don't know what their prices are in daily fantasy, but maybe worth a look there as well. I got to imagine they're at least Bezuidenhout's a decent value on the daily fantasy side. All right, we'll go into head-to-head matchups here next. Just want to remind everybody that missed the beginning of the show. We have the promo again this week for both Andy and myself. Masters 50 promo code Masters 50, get 50% off both myself or Andy's package this week. Normally priced at $39, get it for just $19. Both full of information. Andy's got daily fantasy stuff in there. He's got a ton of head-to-head matchups, player profiles for 15 guys, Andy? And yes. I have leaderboard, outright, and head-to-head matchups in my pack as well. So a lot of good information. Make sure to check that out. Good value definitely for this week. All right, the bread and butter of golf betting. Always hard to pick outrights. Can be very difficult for leaderboards, but head-to-head matchups, mano a mano, one guy versus another guy. Doesn't matter if both players missed the cut. Who finished better, right? So, Andy, you mentioned it before, the Masters and all majors offer a lot more options on the head-to-head matchups than a regular tournament does. So there's a lot to look through. I'll go to you first. Any particular matchup you're looking at this week that struck your eye?
Yeah, tons of matchups. I will mention you mentioned Mike Weir. Mike Weir actually made the cut in the fall, and I laughed because Jason Day did not, Tyrrell Hatton did not, and U.S. Open winner Gary Woodland did not. Imagine the odds. What those matchups would have been: Mike Weir versus
That's
Gary
true.
Woodland.
That's true.
So, yeah, matchups. Tons of them. It can take you days to go through all of these, and I'll start with two of the biggest names that are playing. I love Dustin Johnson over Bryson DeChambeau. Bryson's swing is the stuff legends are made of. If you haven't seen it, there's an unbelievable video of Bryson on the practice range today with Vijay Singh watching him. If you haven't seen it, it's so worth it. It is so great. Vijay just standing there laughing at him as he's hitting 400-yard bombs. It's impressive. It's amazing. Bryson is number one in par 5 scoring, number one in driving distance. Except he hasn't finished inside the top 20 in 4 tournaments at Augusta. In fact, his best finish here was his very first start in 2016 when he finished 21st. He was 34th in the fall, and that was with his new swing. I just don't know if this course sets up well for him. You can't overpower this course. It takes patience. It takes a lot of ball control. And you have to know what you're doing when you're approaching these greens. It doesn't matter how far you drive the ball. If you don't know where to exactly place the ball on some of these greens, you're going to be in trouble. And Bryson has not proven that to me. And I get DJ at -110, who has 5 straight top 10 finishes. He absolutely dissected this course in the fall. And I think DJ, he's coming off of a couple of bad performances. I don't think it matters to some of those tournaments that he missed the cut at. He's coming to defend his title. He wants another green jacket. And the fact that he's finished 1st, 2nd, 10th, 4th, and 6th in his last 5 tournament shows, he is a force to be reckoned with here. I love the price at -110. I expect DJ to be in the top 3. And Bryson, until he shows me that he can finish in the top 10, I'm going to fade him at Augusta.
I'm right there with you, man. I mean, DJ will be there Sunday. He will have a chance to win this thing. Bryson, I'm not going to bet him to miss the cut, but I don't trust him to be all the way in contention on Sunday. You said it already, Augusta is not a place that rewards wayward shots. You miss these greens. I mean, you're looking at bogey at best. And if you get caught in the rough, Augusta is about placements. Really the number one golf course on the PGA Tour as far as you have to know where to put the ball. And again, he could, he's been around the course enough now where he knows where to put it, but his game is still trying to overpower the golf course. And while he probably will have some success on some of these par 5s, which you have to attack, he could have some trouble on some of these par 4s and get some big scores. And that worries me for 4 days of stroke play. So I couldn't agree more. I love DJ at that price. One matchup I was looking at, I already mentioned Matthew Fitzpatrick as one of the outright plays. I'm looking at a head-to-head matchup over Scotty Scheffler, -110 right now. So I won't go into Fitzy. I already mentioned why I like him this week. But Scheffler, I'm really looking at fading him right now because he's just hasn't been great with his irons this year. He actually ranks 131st on tour right now in strokes gained approach. And Augusta is not a forgiving place if you're missing greens. His short game is solid. But to make matters worse, his putting is not good. He's number 111 on tour right now putting. And listen, over 4 days at Augusta, you're going to have a lot of 5 to 8 foot putts. There's no way to avoid it. You're going to have a lot of places where you need to scramble. If you're not making those with any sort of consistency, you're going to have a long 4 days, maybe even only 2 days. So I think it's going to be a long week for Scotty Scheffler. Maybe it's a short week too. I just don't see him, contending all the way through 4 days. So I think Fitzy will beat Scheffler this week. All right, let's go maybe one more matchup before we end this. Any other matchups you like this week, Andy?
Yeah, I do. And I got to say, Fitzpatrick has been a head-to-head king coming over here, playing over in the States. And sometimes you see that with some of the European guys that get on a roll. They come over, they're under the radar, and you can just cash left and right on guys. And Fitzpatrick has been fantastic. I will take Mark Leishman over Francesco Molinari. I love Mole. After he won the Masters, or not the Masters, after he won his first major, when he said he wanted to retire so he could spend time at a coffee shop, surfing the internet. It was one of my favorite quotes from any golfer. That's what he wants to do in retirement. Unfortunately, I don't think he's gotten over his collapse in 2019. He gave the Masters away to Tiger. It was brutal. And then he missed the cut badly in the fall. And he started off the year solid. He moved his family to California and said, I am able to play a ton of golf. He started off with an 8th and a 10th in his first 2 tournaments here. And you're thinking, oh, Molinari, maybe he's back. No. He missed the cut at the Genesis, the Arnold Palmer, the Players. Now, Leishman missed the cut at those 2, but he still finished ahead of Molinari. I just think Molinari has demons here. He has bad memories. Leishman played good here a few months ago. He's finished ahead of Molinari the last couple tournaments and finished well ahead of Molinari in the fall. So as much as I love Francesco, I got to fade him with Leishman here.
Aussies always do well at the Masters, man. So I like that play. One other guy I think is worth a look this week is Sergio. You mentioned this to me yesterday, Andy, but Sergio is number 3 on tour in par 5 scoring this year. Got to eat up the par 5s at the Masters. He's also always one of the best ball strikers on tour. I mean, he's a top 10 ball striker for probably 15 years running on the PGA Tour. Add in his driver this year, which he ranks 2nd on tour in strokes gained off the tee, and really all he needs is an average putting week to be right there in contention. And usually the putter he struggles with, but when he puts it together, like he did in the fall when he won, and just a couple weeks ago at the Players, he finished tied for 9th. The guy can do it. Listen, he was a previous winner at the Players. Tough golf course, rewards ball strikers. He did well this year. He was a previous winner here at the Masters. Tough golf course, rewards ball strikers. I think he's got a good chance to play well this week. He missed the fall due to COVID, so he's itching for his chance to get back on Augusta. And Fleetwood, he only has 2 top 20 finishes in 8 stroke play events this year, which is kind of odd. I scratched my head when I saw that. I thought I expected more. One of those did come in the fall. He finished tied for 19th here, but his ball striking numbers have been terrible. 177th off the tee, 83 in approach, and then he's not putting. 154th on tour, strokes gained putting this year. So just like Scotty Scheffler, if you're not hitting the ball well and you can't make up for it with your putter, it's going to be a long week or a short week at Augusta. So I do not like him. Take Sergio over Tommy as one of my other matchups I like this week. All right, quick joke or quick off the wall kind of props you want to talk about, Andy. I know you're always good at finding this. I never find these good things, but you're always good at finding that one stat that everybody has to know about at this tournament or really any of these majors. Anything you see out there, the listeners need to be aware of that we can make some money on.
Yeah, there's a prop on the offshore markets, over under 21.5 players to finish under par. 43 guys finished under par in the fall, and 28 finished under par in 2019 and 24 in 2018. But Nick, as you know, weather has a lot to do with how the greens react at Augusta. And if it's dry and they're firm, they're really, really hard to stick approach shots. But as we saw in the fall, we got a lot of rain on Thursday, and those greens softened up, and guys were throwing darts at some of the greens. So I looked at the weather, and it looks like there's going to be rain, particularly Thursday night, possibly Thursday afternoon. They're predicting rain. And if we get some of the softer greens, I think this number is going to fly under. Right now, it is 21.5 players to finish under par. And I mean, let's face it, these guys are getting better and better each year. The equipment is getting better and better each year. The fitness is getting better and better each year. This is not going to be your typical dry Masters. So if they get any type of rain on Thursday, which I bet they're going to, they're calling for at least 40% chance Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. I think those greens soften up and we get a lot of guys under par. I would say the winning score might be between 12 under and 15 under with a lot of guys right behind there.
Yeah, I love it. Weather conditions and soft conditions at Masters will certainly get that leaderboard lit up. So good find there. Hopefully it's a little bit better than the last find from the fall. I don't want to rub salt in any wounds, Andy, but I think you had a 100-year record.
Just do it. Do
right?
it.
What was it? 99-0 last time, and nobody would shoot in the 60s all 4 rounds. I don't know if it ever happened before. At least it was 100 years. I forget the number, but it happened.
It had never happened at Augusta that somebody had shot in the 60s in all 4 rounds. I gave it out, and I think the line moved like $4. I mean, it was like minus 150, closed at minus 550. And Cameron Smith did it. And what was funny was he didn't even win. He didn't even win the tournament.
Right. Oh the mullet, God. Man, the mullet is back. Cam's got that mullet. Listen, I like your over-under on the rounds under par. I think you'll do better with that one this week. Well, Andy, listen, thanks for doing this show with me. Hopefully the listeners get a lot of information from this. And I just want to remind everybody again one more time, Masters Week promo up, Masters 50 promo code this week. Take half off, 50% off Andy or myself package for the week. So instead of $39, you can get it for just $19. Ton of information out there. So if you're looking to bet the Masters, make sure to check out WagerTalk.com, view one of our pages, and view that special we got going on. So thanks, guys, for tuning in. I can't wait to do this again with you soon. Hopefully we'll be back for another big event coming up in the near future. And as always, good luck with your bets.